Hopefully you're getting confident with your bandeja technique and you're becoming more accurate and consistent. So you might be asking, where should you be aiming your bandeja? And now we're going to talk about it from different levels, but also where your opponent is on the court so you know exactly where to hit. When it comes to the direction of your bandeja, this then becomes a tactical decision on where to aim. And it would be remiss of me to talk about tactics without quickly saying that the point of a bandeja is for you to hit a defensive overhead and recover your net position. That is the main job, so that is your focus when it comes to bandeja. And when it comes where to aim, that will be aim where is going to give you the most success in order to recover your net position. For each level, we'll talk about the common errors and then also what you should be focusing on. So at a beginner level, there are two main common errors. The first is that players hit it so hard that it bounces, comes off the back glass and makes it easy for their opponents. And then the second, to do with the direction, is that players often hit their bandeja down the line. And this is something that it can be technical and maybe not turning their shoulders enough and they're too front on, but they end up hitting down the line. And if you hit down the line, what happens is you're moving back in the court to hit your bandeja, you hit it down the line, and then you open up a huge space down the middle of the court because your partner is on the other side, and it gives you less time to recover the net. So I recommend at a beginner level, hit 95% of your bandejas cross court. You can hit a small percentage down the middle, but just be conscious that if you hit down the middle and you overhit, you hit a bit hard, it's going to bounce off that back glass and therefore make it easier for your opponents. One of the nice things about going cross court is that even if you overhit cross court, it will mean that you bounce it off the double glass and therefore it slows it down, but then also it likely means that your opponent will not be in a great position. If you go fast down the middle or down that line, it means that you overhit, it hits the glass, and then your opponents are in a good, almost net position if you're not careful. At an intermediate level, the most common error that we see, again, is direction. We still see lots of players going down the line, but often it's to do with the depth of their shot. They either are trying to hit slowly, which is the right thing to do, but they end up just pushing it and it bounces really short in the court and their opponent can come and attack, or they end up hitting almost too high and too deep, and therefore it would bounce here in the court, but their opponents have volleyed it and therefore left them out of position. Something we see a lot at intermediate level is when a player hits a lob, they immediately take some steps forward as if they are going to approach. And then the person hits the bandeja, they end up staying in no man's land, which is a disadvantage. But if you hit your bandeja so it's going to be high, floating and deep, they end up just blocking it and coming forward. And so the lob followed by blocking the bandeja is a great approach tactic, but at an intermediate level, players often do this without thinking and without that intention. So they end up lobbing, they come up here watching their lob, they step here, and then end up blocking a ball and being in a good position. But you, as the person hitting the bandeja, if they are coming up to this, your target area is really around their feet. If you can bounce it to the side so it might go round them, that will really put them under pressure, or you can bounce it on the inside to force them to go a little bit further back, or even right to their feet so that they're going to have to scoop and pick that ball up. But the depth is really important. You don't want it too short, like I said, easy to get attacked, and you don't want it too deep because the opponent can just step in and block. A bonus tip, particularly at beginner and intermediate level, and this came up with one of our members. He sent in a video for us to analyze his bandeja and the tactic of him using it within the point. And we gave feedback on the technique, but a big question I had for him was the tactic of playing it from this far back in the court. The lob had gone up and he was far back in the court, too far to recover the net, and so played the bandeja and then waited back here. And the problem is then you expose the position for your partner. So a big tactic is to make sure that if you are hitting a bandeja, it's that you always recover. Not only will it close gaps, but your partner is expecting you to do that. So it's really important that if it is too deep and you don't think you can recover, that you let it bounce, you play the ball after the glass, whether attacking or defensive, and then at least your partner can come back with you. And so this is my feedback to them. But if you want feedback on your bandeja or your match play, then you can always join our community, thepadelschool.com, do a 7-day free trial, send your videos in. Myself and the other coaches will give you feedback on your technique and tactics, and that's a really great way to progress, and hopefully we're not seeing him hit any more of those really deep bandejas. When it comes to the advanced level, in terms of common errors, it's more around not understanding the tactical situation, and this is where your partner's communication is huge. If that lob goes up, I need to know where my opponents are so I can make the right shot choice. If my partner doesn't tell me, then I don't know and I'm taking a bit of a gamble, yeah? So when that lob goes up, they communicate where they are, whether line is back or cross is back or both are up, and then I make the decision accordingly. And we do see a little bit more of shots down the line with the gancho or the bandeja, but even at the pro level, you've got to be careful sometimes because it does open that gap up, and if they close that space quickly, you could be in trouble. We also see the bandeja down the middle a lot, because if players come forward and they close those gaps, there's still that space down the middle, and it's a great way to force the opponents back. Or what we often see is this bandeja right down to the toes. And if it gets down to the toes, the players are forced to pick that ball up, giving their opponents an easier shot. So when it comes to the tactics and the direction at a more advanced level, you again are really looking at those toes or trying to find those smaller gaps. When it comes to improving your bandeja and hitting those target areas better, the technique is important, obviously, because then you can be more accurate and consistent, but a lot of it is practice. Now, whether you get a ball machine and you fire that ball up so that you aim to those target areas, or you get someone to feed for you, it's really important to practice hitting to those target areas. If you get used to aiming for a good target area on the cross in towards the side glass, for example, when it comes to a game, you're going to find it that much easier to do it. So I highly recommend practicing. If you're not sure about drills or things that you could do with the overheads and you've got a ball machine, we have a big ball machine course. We also have drills on our platform that you could perform with a friend, and that way you could help work on both of your games. I'm going to put a link to thepadelschool.com up here, 7-day free trial, check it out, and hopefully that can help transform your game. And then down here, I'm going to do a video a little bit more around how you can practice the bandeja on your own.